Koppel, host of the Time for Coffee podcast, where you get first-hand career advice into the jobs and industries that interest you the most. And before we start today's show, I have a quick favor to ask you. If you haven't already, I'd be incredibly grateful if you give us a rating and a review on iTunes. And if you're like me, you need to do it now because you'll forget later and because it's the best way to help others who may be in search of career advice to find this free resource. So press pause if you haven't done it and do it right now. I'll wait. Thanks so much and enjoy today's show. Hey there, Java Junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career triple shot K-Cup with my guest, Dr. Mahmoud Ghannoum. So, Dr. Ghannoum, I'd like to pivot now away from the focus of your research towards how your career unfolded.
Okay.
When you were in university in Lebanon, at the American University of Beirut, what was your major? And did you know what you were going to do with that major when you graduated?
It's so funny. First of all, my major was biology chemistry. I had a BS in biology chemistry. And really, I did not know what I want to do. I was thinking of going into medicine and this sort of thing. But then a friend of mine, his name also Mahmoud, he said, I just got acceptance to England to do medicinal chemistry at Loughborough University of Technology. So I said, I'll go and do that. So I went, I did the master, and then I did my PhD there. So it's so funny, like I never had, some people, since they are young, they want to be a lawyer or they want to be a doctor. It's just like it happened as I move on. I say, I like this. And that's how I did in England, my PhD. And then you will laugh at this. My first job was in Malta, the Mediterranean island, Malta.
Actually, I want to stay in England just for a moment because I want to talk more about the serendipity in your life. So just because your friend says, I'm going to do biological chemistry in England, and you're like, that sounds good. Okay, I'll go. When you were at the University of Loughborough, you were paired with a research scientist who was trying to uncover why test rabbits treated with antibiotics were developing a fatal fungal infection.
That's exactly right. What happened, they came and they gave me this paper. They said, look at this. When they have antibiotics, these rabbits, they develop candida infection, candidiasis, remember, which is systemic infection. It's not just the one with thrush or in the oral cavity, for example. So I looked into that, and lo and behold, the literature even at that time showed that women who take tetracyclines, they develop antibiotic, they develop thrush. So I said, this is really very interesting area, because if you kill the bacteria, you are encouraging the fungus to grow. And that's what I did my PhD on. I did my PhD to look at the effect of antibiotics and steroids, because people take all these steroids, and guess what? People who take steroids, they tend to have also fungal infection. So that's what I did my PhD. And then later on in life, to come back into the microbiome, I used to go to these meetings and everybody talking about the microbiome, they're talking about bacteria. I said, no, you have to think of fungus also. Because I know when I was a young man that you kill bacteria, fungus cause the issue. So I wrote a couple of opinion pieces so that we should really look in the same sample about bacteria and fungus. And that's where I coined the term mycobiome. And you remember, mycology is the study of fungus. So I said, instead of bacteriome, studying bacteria, I call it mycobiome. And that's how I developed my most recent passion.
And you mentioned Malta, which was the first place that you worked after you got your PhD, the first country. But even the story of how you came to the United States is a story of serendipity.
Yes. As you mentioned, my first job was in Malta. I stayed 3 years actually, and then I started to look for other jobs. And there was Kuwait University. I was living in England at that time. Kuwait University wanted lecturers in microbiology. So I applied and I got the job. So I stayed in Kuwait 11 years till Saddam Hussein invaded the country. And I was in England at that time because, Kuwait in summer, as you know, you travel very well, is very hot. So I used to go to spend summer in England with my family, my wife and kids. And overnight, the country where I had my job, my home, gone. Saddam Hussein just took it. So that's really, oh my God, it was an awakening moment here. I started, okay, what do I do? I start looking for jobs, but I was very lucky. It's, as you say, serendipity is unbelievable. Before I left Kuwait to go to England for the summer, I published 2 papers on garlic, the effect of garlic on candida. And that story it's interesting because one Kuwaiti faculty member in our department every day comes to me, Mahmoud, you have to study garlic because when people take garlic, they don't develop candida. I say, leave me alone. I don't want to study garlic. Okay. And then he kept at me till I studied garlic and published. So they invited me to give a talk at the Willard's Hotel in DC about garlic in the first World Congress on the biology of garlic. So I had my visa, I had everything ready. So when I came here, I wanted to get a job, obviously, because I lost my job overnight. I contacted Dr. Jacques Bennett from the National Institute of Health. I told him, my name's so-and-so, I need a job. He said, who are you? I said, listen, I'm Mahmoud Ghannoum. I just lost my job. I need help. I'm a mycologist. And he said, okay, come over. I went. To cut long story short, he said, if you can come next week, we have a big meeting. All the people who study fungus in the US are coming to DC.
What are the chances?
Honest to God. So I said, I can't do it because I don't have money to stay. I'll give you my CV. In my way to the hotel, to the Willards, I saw a travel agent at the La Meridian Hotel across from the Willard. And I said to him, I said, I need your help. He said, what do you want? I said, listen, I am in trouble. You understand how people in trouble. You need to help me. He said, what do you want? I said, you need to change my ticket. He changed my ticket. He gave me $80. And I was able to go to stay with my friend in Milwaukee till I came to the meeting where Dr. Bennett invited me. And he was such a kind man. He had everybody, you know how it is at this high level. He had people to his house for reception. And he said, come, Mahmoud, to my house. I went to his house and guess what? I got 2 jobs that night. One from Wayne State and one from UCLA. And of course, I took UCLA. And that's how it is.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to this latest episode of T4C. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching services for confused college students and recent grads, feel free to check out the Time for Coffee website under the coaching tab at time4coffee.org or text me at 202-236-5712. That's 202-236-5712.